What's up guys, Evan Olin here. I'm super excited today to get into my signature artist collection from Fusion Ink. I want to talk a little bit about the idea behind my signature set, my colors, how I came up with them. Basically, the first thing that I came to is my style. What kind of colors would I really like to have? The way I get into tattooing, I have a fine art background. I really came into it first as an oil painter. And that's really the way I look at color and the way I think about it. I think about color not just in terms of value, but really in terms of temperature and intensity. And so I sort of tried to look for colors that I would want to use that made sense for my work, the way that I tattoo, but also filled in gaps that I saw in the existing, already super extensive Fusion Ink lineup. All right, I think first, kind of the easiest place to begin talking about this is we're gonna talk about three colors. These are the more like the three, really the most traditional flesh tones that you think of when you think of a portrait set. This is warm skin, rosy cheeks, and sun-kissed. These three colors are, you know, as I said, I like to think in terms of intensity, temperature when I put these together, not just value. So a lot of the fusion colors that are out now, specifically the skin tones, have a great range of value when it comes to portraits and skin tones. They go all the way from, they've got a skin tone extra light, and it goes all the way up to skin tone extra dark. Those are great for getting your value together. I wanted to kind of break that up a little bit with an opportunity to go a little more intense with some colors. So I've got warm skin, which is a little bit of a warmer flesh tone. And then after that, I've got rosy cheeks, which is kind of the next step up. It blends in really well from warm skin right to rosy cheeks, which is a very warm skin tone. Great for areas where you've got the most blood flow. You really want to make it kind of pop a little bit more with a little more warmth and intensity. It's a flesh tone with just a little bit more red, a little more pink in it. Great for noses, cheeks, you know, as the name suggests, rosy cheeks. And then the third one there is sun-kissed. And that's a little bit, again, another flesh tone that's a little more intense, but this one skews more to the yellow side. It's a little more of a golden flesh tone. All right, next I got Espresso, which is probably my most crucial color, probably my favorite color in the whole set. I literally use this for every single tattoo I do. There's not a tattoo where I don't take out Espresso. This is the darkest and most neutral brown in Fusion's lineup. It blends great out of black. It's very, you know, for your shadow areas, your dingy, dark areas. A lot of the browns, you know, especially when I wanted to go really dark, really neutral with them, they're great, but they still have that warmth, that bit of orange mixed into them. This Espresso is much more neutralized, and as a result really fades into the background and kind of pushes back, and it allows you to kind of blend really, you know, into any color family from there. From there, I want to talk about Green Machine. This is a really nice, rich, dark, very kind of cool green. It's got a lot of notes of blue in it, you can see. It's dark, it's rich, it's deep, sort of neutral, but also very like cool and sort of a little bit grayed out. This color blends in really well out of black. Again, you know, great for your darker areas, shadow areas, really pushes back. One of the colors that Fusion has that I love is Hunter Green. This works really well with Hunter Green in your kind of dark greenish shadow areas. It's basically like a few steps darker in value than Hunter Green. So it's a great sort of gap filler between Hunter Green and black. Purple Haze is going to be similar in intensity and value to Green Machine. It might be a little bit more intense, but very similar. It's a darker purple with hints of magenta in it. Very rich. This is again a great color you know, nice, deep, dark color. It's got a little bit of intensity, a little bit of punch to it, but it also blends really nicely into black. Dusk is this really nice, neutral, kind of dark, brownish, pinkish, sort of deep, cool flesh tone. Think of it as like the perfect color for like a bruise or like tired, you know, evil under eyes, something like that, where you really, you know, it's got a little bit of richness to it, but it also like neutralizes super well. Another of my favorites is Storm Shadow. This color is a super dark, sort of grayed out neutral purple, you know, much more neutral than Purple Haze by comparison. This is really, anywhere I want to push shadows towards purple, say that the piece has a lot of like yellows and oranges in the skin tones, and I want to get some complementary color action, but I don't want it to have pull too much intensity, pull too much focus. Storm Shadow is great in those areas. It really like creates that color contrast, that complementary color pop without actually attracting attention to it. Super dark, rich, and blends into black really well for those shadow areas. All right, I love Shadow Core. This is a very, very neutral gray color. Fusion has some great grays. They have got an opaque gray set that covers all the values from extra light to extra dark. They've got an opaque blue set, that's blue tinted grays, that goes from extra light to extra dark. I want to talk to you about my color Shadow Core that I made, because it fills in a little bit of a gap there. It's one of those neutral grays, but it's a neutral green gray. It's a gray, but it's got a tint of green added to it. I also made Zombie Gray, which is almost the same color. It's the lighter value of it. So Shadow Core is the dark value, Zombie Gray is the light value, and these are great for those kind of darker, dingy areas. It's kind of a secret weapon for getting some of that complementary color interest in shadow areas of skin tone, especially if you've got you know, a portrait where you're using warmer, pinky, you know, warmer flesh tones. You mix in a little bit of that Shadow Core, a little bit of that Zombie Gray in the darker areas. It really makes those shadows really pop because you've got a little bit of that complementary color interest happening. Not so much that it draws your attention, because you want attention and focus still in those areas of you know, focal importance. You know, you want them right in on the main areas of the face. But as it pushes back into shadows, you know, those cool areas where you're mixing in the Shadow Core and the Zombie Gray, you know, it'll really have like a fun interaction and really make the piece pop a little bit more. Shadow Core, it's the darker one, it blends in great to black, and then it also blends really nicely into Zombie Gray, which is your great kind of mid-range. Zombie Gray is the one that's going to blend in really well once you start mixing it in with some of those more neutral, even some of those warmer flesh tones. You get some really fun dynamics to your portraits that way. Now that these colors have been out for a while, one of the coolest things that it was kind of a surprise for me, one of the coolest things that I never really anticipated is hearing from other artists that are using the set, artists that don't do realism, artists that don't do portraits, artists from other styles, you know, how they're enjoying the set, what they're using it for. I've had artists from all different styles, you know, for example, artists that do biomech. Ty McEwen is a good friend of mine. He told me he's loving the set. His personal favorites are warm skin and rosy cheeks. Another example is Andre Vasiliev out there. He's from my shop, Powerline Tattoo, killing it. Neo-trad artist right now, really rising up. He told me his favorite colors are Zombie Gray and Dusk. So it just goes to show, it's super rad learning that, you know, there's applications for these colors that I never even thought of for all different styles.